You think you know who you're sleeping next to. You think you know the person signing your paycheck. You think you know your best friend. But you don't. You're walking through a minefield blindfolded, convinced that because you haven't stepped on a mine yet, the ground is safe. It isn't. The explosion is coming. It's always coming. And the most painful part isn't the explosion itself. It's the realization, afterward, while you're picking shrapnel out of your life, that the warning signs were there the entire time. They were screaming at you. They were painted on the face of the person you trusted. You just didn't know how to look. You were illiterate in the only language that matters. Think back to the last time you were blindsided. Really go there. You're sitting across from them at dinner. Maybe it's a partner. Maybe it's a business associate. The lighting is low. The music is soft. You are pouring your heart out. You are explaining your fears, your dreams, the things that keep you awake at night. You feel connected. You feel safe. You look at them, and they are nodding. They are smiling. Their mouth is saying, "I understand you. I support you." And you believe them, because you are projecting your own heart onto their face. You are honest, so you assume they are honest. You are empathetic, so you assume that nod means empathy. But if you could pause that moment, if you could freeze time and zoom in, if you could read people like a book, you would have seen the truth. You would have seen that their smile didn't reach their eyes. You would have seen the tiny, split-second twitch of their upper lip, a micro-expression of disgust that flashed for 1/15th of a second before they put their mask back on. You missed it. You felt safe when you were actually in danger. And because you couldn't read the code, you gave them the ammunition they used to destroy you 6 months later. This is the uncomfortable truth about human interaction. We are all liars. Every single one of us. We lie to be polite. We lie to keep the peace. We lie to get what we want. But the biological reality is that the human brain is a terrible liar. The executive brain, the part that formulates the words, the excuses, the smooth manipulations, that part is slow. It takes effort to construct a lie. But the limbic system, the primal, emotional core of the brain, it reacts instantly. It reacts honestly. And before the liar can put on their mask, the truth leaks out. It leaks out in the eyes. It leaks out in the tension of the jaw. It leaks out in the way their hand twitches when they say they love you. These are the 6 micro-expressions to watch. They are the cracks in the armor. But you have spent your entire life being trained to ignore them. Society tells you to listen to words. We are taught that communication is verbal. If they say, "I'm fine," you accept that they are fine. If they say, "I'm not angry," you accept that they aren't angry. Pause. How many times has someone told you, "I'm not mad," while their jaw was clenched tight enough to crack a tooth? And what did you do? You listened to the words. You engaged with the lie. You tried to reason with the mask instead of addressing the monster underneath. You are failing to read people like a book because you are reading the cover they designed for you, not the pages they are trying to glue shut. The pain you feel right now, that nagging suspicion that you can't trust your own judgment, is valid. You should doubt your judgment. Your judgment has failed you repeatedly. Think about the person who betrayed you, the one who cheated, the one who stole the credit, the one who smiled to your face and gossiped behind your back. There was a moment, early on, where you felt a ping, a tiny alarm bell in your gut, a moment where they laughed, and it sounded cold, a moment where they looked at you, and for a second, their eyes went dead. What did you do with that data? You threw it away. You told yourself you were being paranoid. You told yourself you were being judgmental. You gaslit yourself into blindness because the truth was too uncomfortable to look at. You wanted the fantasy of the relationship more than you wanted the reality of the person. This isn't about becoming a detective. This isn't about becoming paranoid. This is about survival. The world is full of predators who have mastered the art of camouflage. They look like the perfect partner. They sound like the perfect boss. They act like the perfect friend. But they cannot control their physiology. They cannot control the involuntary muscle spasms that occur when their internal reality clashes with their external lie. You are here because you are tired of being the last one to know. You are here because you are tired of the shock. You are here because you realize that your inability to read these signals is the reason history keeps repeating itself in your life. Stop looking at what they want you to see. Stop listening to the script they rehearsed. It is time to look at the leakage. It is time to learn the language of the shadow. When you can finally read people like a book, the world becomes a very different place. It becomes quieter. The confusion vanishes. You stop wondering, does he like me? Or is she telling the truth? You look. You see. You know. And then you have the power. But first, you have to admit that up until this moment, you have been choosing to be blind. You have been choosing comfort over clarity. That ends today. You think the betrayal happened on the day they served you the divorce papers. You think the sabotage happened on the day they fired you. You think the lie started the moment they opened their mouth to make the excuse. Wrong. The betrayal happened 6 months ago. The sabotage was happening while you were buying them coffee. The lie started before they even spoke. And the worst part? A part of you knew it. Let's go back to that specific Tuesday. You're in a meeting. Your boss is sitting at the head of the table. They are talking about team synergy and future opportunities. They look at you. They smile. They say, "We have big plans for you." But in that exact second, you felt a drop in your stomach. A physical heaviness. The hair on the back of your arms stood up. It was primal. It was irrational. It was a warning shot. What did you do? You looked at your notebook. You took a sip of water. You engaged your logical brain, that loud, arrogant, stupid part of your mind, and you argued with your gut. Don't be insecure, you told yourself. They just gave me a compliment, you reasoned. Stop looking for problems where there aren't any. You rationalized the intuition away. You treated your survival instinct like a nuisance. You felt the predator in the room, and you told yourself it was a house cat. Fast forward 3 months. They hand the promotion to the guy who does half the work. They lay you off, and you act shocked. You cry to your friends, "I never saw it coming." Liar. You saw it. You just didn't want to believe it. This is the pattern of your life. It's not that you are blind. It's that you are willfully ignoring the data. Think about the relationship that broke you, the one that left you questioning your sanity. Go back to the beginning, the honeymoon phase. It was perfect, wasn't it? Too perfect. They were charming. They were attentive. But remember that dinner? The waiter made a mistake, brought the wrong wine, or maybe the driver took a wrong turn. And for a split second, the charm evaporated. You saw a flash of cold, dead rage in their eyes. You saw a sneer of absolute contempt for a service worker. It lasted less than a second. Then, snap. The smile was back. "It's fine, really," they said. But you froze. You felt the chill. That was the real person peeking through the cracks of the performance. That was the monster showing you its teeth. And what did you do? You made an excuse for them. They've had a long day. They're just particular. They're under a lot of stress. You became their PR agent. You spun the story to make them look good to yourself. You saw the red flag, and you painted it white because you didn't want to be alone. You didn't want to start over. You wanted the fantasy to be real so badly that you agreed to participate in the deception. This is the uncomfortable truth about why you get used. You are an accomplice in your own manipulation. We call this cognitive dissonance. It's the mental discomfort you feel when reality contradicts your beliefs. Belief: this person loves me/respects me. Reality: this person just looked at me with disgust. Your brain cannot handle that conflict. It has to choose one. And because the reality is painful, because the reality requires you to take action, to leave, to confront, to blow up your life, your brain chooses the belief. It deletes the reality. It wipes the micro-expression from your memory. You are walking through life pressing ignore on every security alert your system sends you. Your gut is not magic. It is not mystical energy. Your gut is your subconscious mind processing thousands of micro cues that your conscious mind is too slow to catch. It noticed the lack of eye contact. It noticed the timing was off. It noticed the feet were pointed toward the door while the body was facing you. It added all that up and sent you a sensation, danger, and you responded with politeness. You have been trained to be nice at the expense of being safe. You have been taught that judging people based on vibes is rude. So you wait. You wait for the smoking gun. You wait for the text message, the confession, the undeniable proof. But by the time you get the smoking gun, you have already been shot. You need to forgive yourself for this, but you also need to stop doing it. You need to understand that when you feel that ping, that sudden drop, that flash of anxiety, that urge to pull away, that is not your anxiety disorder talking. That is your pattern recognition, firing on all cylinders. That is your body reading the book that your eyes are refusing to open. The micro-expressions we are about to break down, the sneer, the eye block, the false smile, they are the cause of that gut feeling. You have been seeing them all along. You just didn't have the vocabulary to name them, so you dismissed them as noise. They are not noise. They are the only signal that matters. Everything else is just noise. You are about to learn the biology behind why they can't help but reveal themselves. You are going to learn why the truth fights its way to the surface of the skin. And once you understand the mechanics, you will never be able to make excuses for them again. The days of comfortable blindness are over. Reading people isn't a superpower. It isn't a mystical gift bestowed upon a chosen few. Stop treating it like magic. It is hardware. It is wiring. It is biology. To understand why you've been fooled, you have to understand the machine inside the skull of the person lying to you. The human brain is not a unified team working toward a single goal. It is a house divided against itself. It is a war zone. Getty Images. In one corner, you have the neocortex, the new brain. This is the executive. This is the liar. This is the part of the brain that handles language, logic, and complex thought. It's the part that constructs the alibi. It's the part that says, I was working late, or I promise I'll change. It is smart. It is calculated, but it is slow. In the other corner, you have the limbic system, the reptilian brain. This is the animal. This is the seat of emotion, survival, flight, and fight. It doesn't know words. It deals in pure, raw data: fear, lust, rage, disgust, joy. And here is the critical flaw in the design of the human liar. The limbic system is faster, much faster. When you ask a question, where were you last night? The limbic system reacts instantly. Before the person can even process the meaning of the words, their emotional center has already fired. Fear spikes. Disgust curls. Surprise flashes. This happens in less than half a second. It is a reflex, like pulling your hand away from a hot stove. Then, about 0.5 seconds later, the neocortex wakes up. It realizes, wait, I need to hide that reaction. It slams on the brakes. It suppresses the fear. It forces a smile. It constructs the mask. But it's too late. That gap, that tiny fraction of a second between the limbic reaction and the neocortex cover-up, is where the truth lives. That is the micro-expression. It is the truth trying to escape before the lie can catch it. Paul Ekman, the pioneer of this science, called it leakage. I want you to sit with that word. Leakage. Imagine a dam holding back a massive reservoir of black water. The water is the truth. The dam is the social mask they wear. When the pressure gets too high, when the fear of getting caught, or the contempt they feel for you, becomes too strong, the dam fractures. A jet of black water shoots out, just for a second. Then they patch it. But the water came out. The truth was revealed. You have been ignoring the leaks because you are focused on the dam. You are admiring how sturdy the wall looks, how nice the paint job is, while water is spraying right past your ear. Why does this happen? Why can't we just suppress it perfectly? Because evolution didn't design us to lie. For 200,000 years, survival depended on honest signaling. If you saw a predator, you needed to look terrified so your tribe would run. If you ate poison, you needed to look disgusted so your tribe wouldn't eat it. We are wired for transparency. The ability to lie, to mask our true intent, is a relatively new software patch running on ancient hardware. And the hardware is glitchy. This is why the most dangerous people, the narcissists, the manipulators, focus so heavily on eye contact and verbal charm. They are trying to distract you. They are magicians waving one hand so you don't look at the other. They know on a subconscious level that their body is betraying them. When they lie, their blood pressure rises. Their pupils dilate. Blood rushes to the extremities, fight or flight, or drains from the face, fear. The tiny muscles around the eyes, the corrugator supercilii, twitch involuntarily. They cannot stop this. No matter how much of a sociopath they are, they still have a limbic system. They still have a nervous system. Unless they are chemically sedated or have specific brain damage, the signal will fire. So stop listening to the words. The words are the neocortex trying to sell you a used car. Look at the face. The face is the limbic system screaming that the engine is broken. You have to change the way you view human interaction. Every conversation is a biological negotiation. You are not two souls connecting. You are two biological machines processing threats. When you start seeing the delay, the flash of an emotion that doesn't match the words that follow, you are seeing the biological processing lag. You are seeing the lie being built in real time. You've seen this before. You've asked someone, "Are you okay?" And for a split second, their face crumbled. It looked like tragedy. It looked like exhaustion. Then, blink. "I'm great. Just tired." And you bought the "I'm great." You ignored the crumble. You ignored the biology because the lie was more polite. The biology never lies. The biology is incapable of lying. It simply reacts to stimuli. If you can learn to spot the specific muscle movements that the limbic system triggers, you bypass the neocortex entirely. You stop arguing with their logic and start reading their reality. We are about to dissect the specific leaks. We are going to look at the eyes, the mouth, and the body. We are going to name the muscles. But understand this. Once you know what to look for, you will see it everywhere. You will see it in your spouse. You will see it in your parents. You will see it in the mirror. The truth is trying to get out. Are you brave enough to look at it? The greatest con artist isn't the person sitting across from you. It's the person staring back in the mirror. You think you were fooled because the liar was a mastermind. You think they were playing 4D chess while you were playing checkers. You ascribe them this genius-level intellect to protect your own ego. Because if they are a genius, then it's okay that you were tricked. But they aren't geniuses. They are lazy. They didn't have to work hard to fool you. You did all the work for them. This is the psychological concept of projection. Here is how it works. We cannot truly know what is happening inside another person's head. It is a black box. So, to navigate the world, we fill in the blanks using the only data set we have access to, ourselves. If you are a kind person, you assume others are kind. If you value honesty, you assume others value honesty. If you have a conscience that keeps you up at night, you assume they do too. You are projecting your own morality onto a blank screen. You are painting your own face on their mask. When you look at a predator, you don't see a predator. You see a version of yourself that happens to be acting strangely. And because you would only act that way if you were stressed or tired or confused, you assume they are stressed, tired, or confused. You don't see their malice. You see your own empathy reflected back at you. Psychologists call this the truth default theory. Evolution wired us to believe people. If every time someone said, "There is a tiger in the bushes," you had to stop and analyze their micro-expressions to determine if they were lying, you would be eaten by the tiger. Trust is efficient. Doubt is expensive. So, your brain defaults to true. You operate on the assumption that what you are hearing is reality until you have overwhelming evidence to the contrary. And the manipulators know this. They bank on it. They know that if they give you 10% of a story, you will write the other 90% in your head. And because you are writing it, you will believe it. Think about the time you caught them in a little lie. Maybe their timeline didn't add up. "I was at the gym," they said. But you know the gym closes at 9, and they got home at 11. What happened in your brain? Did you immediately think, "They are cheating on me/deceiving me"? No. Your truth bias kicked in. You started doing the mental gymnastics for them. Maybe they went to the 24-hour gym. Maybe they stopped for gas. Maybe I got the times wrong. You became their defense attorney. You argued their case against your own intuition. You smoothed over the cracks in their story because the alternative, that the person you love/trust is a liar, was too painful to accept. This is why honest people are the easiest to destroy. A thief knows he is a thief, so he expects everyone else to steal from him. He is vigilant. A liar knows he is a liar, so he assumes everyone is lying to him. He is watchful. But you, the nice person, you are walking through the jungle with raw meat in your pockets, assuming the lions are vegans just because you are. You need to understand that your virtues are your vulnerabilities. Your empathy is the backdoor they use to break in. When you see a micro-expression that looks like contempt, your brain wants to translate it into indigestion. When you see a flash of delight when you fail, schadenfreude, your brain wants to translate it into awkward support. You are translating their language of predation into your language of compassion. Stop it. You must accept that there are people who do not think like you. There are people who view interactions as zero-sum games. There are people who view you not as a human being, but as a resource to be mined. When they look at you, they are not seeing a person. They are seeing an appliance. What can this thing do for me? And when they smile, it's not because they like you. It's because the appliance is working. To read people like a book, you have to stop projecting your own plot onto their pages. You have to read what is actually written there. You have to be willing to see the darkness in them without trying to fix it, excuse it, or explain it away with your own light. You have to be willing to accept that the person across from you might be empty, that the mask might be all there is. And that is terrifying, but it is safer than the lie. Now that we have stripped away your truth bias, we can finally look at the raw data. We are going to start with the eyes. The poets say the eyes are the windows to the soul. Dark psychology tells us the eyes are the only place the neocortex cannot fully control. This is where the leak begins. They say the eyes are the windows to the soul. That is poetry. In dark psychology, the eyes are the leak in the submarine. You can rehearse a speech. You can practice your tone of voice. You can force your mouth into a shape that resembles friendliness. But the eyes? The eyes are directly wired to the autonomic nervous system. They are the only part of the body that the liar cannot fully domesticate. We're going to start with the single most common lie you encounter every day, the smile. You think you know what a smile looks like. You see teeth. You see the corners of the mouth go up. You think, happy, friendly, safe. Wrong. You are looking at the mouth. The mouth is a puppet. The liar can pull the strings of the mouth anytime they want. Expression number 1. The Duchenne marker, the only real smile. Guillaume Duchenne was a French neurologist who electrocuted people's faces to map their muscles. He discovered a fundamental truth about human joy. A true smile, a smile of genuine enjoyment, affection, or happiness, involves 2 muscle groups. The zygomatic major. This pulls the corners of the mouth up. This is the say cheese muscle. It is voluntary. You can move it right now. The orbicularis oculi. This is the muscle that rings the eye socket. When it contracts, it pulls the cheek up and crinkles the skin around the eyes. It creates crow's feet. Here is the catch. The outer part of the orbicularis oculi is incredibly difficult to move voluntarily. Most people simply cannot do it on command. It only fires when the limbic system feels actual joy. Now, replay that memory. You just told your friend you got the promotion. You just told your partner you're excited about the trip. They smiled. You saw teeth. You saw the mouth curve up. But cover their mouth in your mind. Look at the eyes. Were they flat? Were they wide? Was the skin around them smooth? If the mouth was smiling but the eyes were still, you were looking at a Pan Am smile. It's named after the flight attendants who were paid to smile at rude passengers for 12 hours a day. It is a polite mask, but in a relationship, it is a red flag. It means, I am pretending to be happy for you, but I feel nothing. Or worse, I am envious, but I am hiding it. If you see a mouth smile with dead eyes, you are in the presence of a performance. Do not trust the applause. Expression number 2, the eye block. The second leak is even more primal. It comes from our childhood. When a toddler sees something they don't like, a scary movie, a plate of vegetables, an angry parent, what do? They cover their eyes. If I can't see you, you can't see me. It is the brain's way of deleting an unpleasant reality. As we grow up, we are taught that covering our eyes is childish. So we modify the gesture. We camouflage it. But the urge remains. When a person is confronted with a question they don't want to answer, or when they have to tell a lie that makes them uncomfortable, they will perform an eye block. They might rub their eye casually. They might touch their eyebrow, shielding their vision for a split second. They might squeeze their eyes shut for a beat longer than a normal blink. They might adjust their glasses. Watch for this the next time you ask a difficult question. Did you finish the report? Where did the money go? Who were you texting? If they rub their eye before answering, pay attention. Their brain is trying to block out the scrutiny. They are subconsciously trying to unsee the situation. This is often a sign of cognitive load. Lying is hard work. The brain needs to shut out visual data, your face staring at them, so it can focus on constructing the fabrication. Think about the conversation where you felt something was off. You were pressing them for details. They took off their glasses and cleaned them. They rubbed the bridge of their nose, closing their eyes tight. I told you, it's complicated, they said. That wasn't tiredness. That was the eye block. That was them hiding from you in plain sight. The eyes reveal the binary state of the relationship. The orbicularis oculi tells you if the connection is real. The eye block tells you if they're trying to escape. You have been ignoring these signals because you want the smile to be real. You want the eye rub to just be an itch. But now you know the anatomy. You know the wiring. When the eyes don't match the mouth, believe the eyes. The mouth is a politician. The eyes are the whistleblower. But the eyes are just the beginning. If the eyes are where they hide their lack of love, the mouth is where they hide their contempt. And the next micro-expression we're going to look at is the single most accurate predictor of divorce and betrayal in human history. It happens in less than a second. And you've probably seen it 100 times without knowing that it meant, I own you. The eyes are where they hide their secrets. But the mouth? The mouth is where they declare their war. You have been taught to watch the mouth for words. You should have been watching it for geometry. The most dangerous signal a human being can send. The signal that predicts the end of a marriage with 93% accuracy. The signal that screams betrayal before it happens, lives in the corners of the lips. Expression number 3, the micro-sneer, contempt. This is the only asymmetrical expression in the entire human repertoire. Anger uses both sides of the face. Joy uses both sides. Fear uses both sides. But contempt? Contempt only needs one. It looks like a half smile. One corner of the mouth pulls back and up, just slightly. It creates a dimple on one side. It lasts for a fraction of a second. You've seen this before. You thought it was quirky. You thought it was a smirk. You thought they were just being skeptical. Wrong. They were judging you. And they found you wanting. Dr. John Gottman, the world's leading researcher on relationships, calls contempt one of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. If he sees this expression in a couple's therapy session, he knows the relationship is effectively dead. Why? Because contempt is not just anger. Anger says, I don't like what you did. Contempt says, I am better than you. It is a statement of moral superiority. It is the face of status. When someone flashes a micro-sneer while you are talking, they are looking down on you from a psychological height. They view you as beneath them. They view your words as trivial. Go back to that meeting. You were pitching your idea. You were passionate. You were vulnerable. You looked at your boss. He didn't frown. He didn't yell. He just tightened the left corner of his mouth for half a second. Then he said, interesting approach. You heard interesting approach. Your gut heard. You are an idiot. And your gut was right. The sneer invalidated the words. If you see this expression on a first date, run. If you see this expression when you are apologizing to your partner, stop apologizing. They aren't listening. They are classifying you as a subordinate. You cannot negotiate with someone who views you as a peasant. Expression number 4, the upper lip rise, disgust. If contempt is the killer of respect, disgust is the killer of intimacy. Evolutionarily, disgust is a survival mechanism. It is designed to stop us from ingesting poison. When you smell rotten meat, your nose wrinkles, the procerus muscle, and your upper lip pulls up, the levator labii superioris. It physically closes the nostrils to block the smell and raises the lip to prepare to spit. It says, this object is toxic. Get it away from me. Now, the uncomfortable question. What happens when that object is you? This is the hardest thing to admit to yourself. You have been in a moment of intimacy. Maybe you reached out to touch their arm. Maybe you leaned in for a kiss. Maybe you were just being yourself, laughing, being loud, taking up space. And you saw it. A tiny flicker. Their nose crinkled. Their upper lip jumped. It looked like they smelled something bad. But there was no smell. There was only you. You saw it, and it broke your heart in a way you couldn't articulate. You pulled back. You asked, "What's wrong?" And they said, "Nothing." But you knew. You felt the rejection in your marrow. That micro-expression meant they felt a physical repulsion to your presence in that moment. Maybe it's because they are cheating, and your touch feels like a violation of their loyalty to the new person. Maybe it's because they have devalued you so completely that your affection feels like slime. We try to rationalize this away. They just have a weird face. They smelled the garbage. I'm imagining things. You are not imagining it. The levator labii does not fire by accident. If you see disgust on the face of someone who claims to love you, the relationship is a corpse. You are just waiting for the funeral. Stop trying to win back someone who looks at you like you are a bad smell. Stop trying to impress someone who looks at you with the asymmetrical smirk of a king looking at a jester. The mouth tells you the hierarchy. Contempt puts you below them. Disgust puts you outside them. These two expressions are the danger signals. They are the warning shots. If you see them, there is no fixing it with better communication. The respect is gone. And without respect, there is no relationship. There is only a power struggle that you have already lost. But there is still one more place the truth leaks out. The face can be controlled to some degree. The neocortex focuses heavily on the face. But the body, the hands, the shoulders, the liar often forgets they even have a body below the neck. And that is where the anxiety lives. The face is the billboard. It's where they spend their advertising budget. They practice the smile. They practice the eye contact. They know you are looking there. But the body? The body is the backstage crew. And the liar forgets to tell the crew to stop running around in panic. When the brain is under the immense cognitive load of maintaining a deception, it loses control of the extremities. The energy required to keep the face composed draws resources away from the hands, the shoulders, and the feet. Expression number 5, the turtle effect, the gravitational leak. Gravity is the most honest force in the universe. When we are confident, we defy gravity. We stand tall. Our chin is up. Our gestures are expansive. When we are insecure, weak, or lying, gravity crushes us. We shrink. Watch the shoulders. The turtle effect is a primal survival reflex. When an animal is threatened, it pulls its head into its shell to protect the carotid artery in the neck. Humans do the same thing. We hike our shoulders up toward our ears. But here is the microversion you are missing, the one-sided shrug. You ask, "Did you pay the vendor?" They answer, "Yes, absolutely." And as they say it, one shoulder twitches up. Just an inch. Just for a second. That twitch is a confession. A full shrug, both shoulders up, palms up, means I don't know. It is honest. A partial shrug, one shoulder, or just the shoulders without the hands, means I don't believe what I am saying. Their voice said yes. Their body said, I have no idea, or I am lying. This happens constantly in relationships. Do you love me? Of course I do. Shoulder twitch. The body is contradicting the mouth. The body is trying to hide. This is the leakage of uncertainty. If they were truly certain, their shoulders would be relaxed. They would be grounded. The twitch is the physical manifestation of the lie trying to escape. Expression number 6, the pacifier, self-soothing. Lying is stressful, even for a narcissist. It requires the brain to run two realities simultaneously. The truth, which must be suppressed, and the lie, which must be constructed. This creates tension. The limbic system starts firing distress. Distress. So the body tries to fix it. The body tries to hug itself. We call these manipulators or pacifiers. They are gestures meant to soothe the nervous system. The neck touch. This is the big one. The suprasternal notch, the little dip at the base of your throat, is a highly vulnerable area. When we feel threatened or anxious, we instinctively cover it. You ask a tough question. Their hand shoots up to their throat. They play with a necklace. They adjust their tie. They rub the back of their neck. They are literally protecting their jugular. They are feeling exposed. The leg cleanse. They are sitting across from you. As they talk, they rub their hands down their thighs, quadriceps. It looks like they are wiping off lint. There is no lint. They are wiping off sweat. They are wiping off stress. They are trying to calm their shaking hands by grounding them against their large muscle groups. The ventilator. Men will pull their shirt collar away from their neck. Women might flip their hair off their neck. Why? Because the stress of the lie causes body temperature to spike. They are literally hot under the collar. They are venting the heat of the deception. Think about the last time you confronted someone. You were standing there, heart pounding, demanding the truth. What were they doing? Were they standing still? Or were they fidgeting? Were they touching their face? Were they rubbing their arm? You interpreted that fidgeting as annoyance. Stop fidgeting and listen to me, you thought. Wrong. That wasn't annoyance. That was fear. That was their body screaming, I am under attack. I need comfort. If they were innocent, they would be angry. They would be frozen in shock. They would be open. But they were self-soothing. Why does an innocent person need to soothe themselves in the face of a simple question? They don't. You missed it because you were listening to their tone. I can't believe you don't trust me, they yelled. Indignant. Angry. But while they yelled, they were rubbing their neck. The voice was aggressive. The body was terrified. The body always wins. When the verbal channel and the nonverbal channel contradict each other, always trust the nonverbal. Words can be scripted. Sweaty palms, dry mouths, and shoulder twitches cannot. You have now seen the leakage in the eyes, the mouth, and the body. You have the map. But a map is useless if you don't know when to look. The amateur looks for the expression. The pro looks for the timing of the expression. Because a smile that happens 0.5 seconds too late isn't a smile. It's a calculation. And that tiny delay is the difference between a soulmate and a sociopath. You can memorize the expressions. You can look for the eye block. You can spot the sneer. But if you don't understand timing, you will still be fooled by a good actor. The truth is fast. The truth is messy. The lie is slow. The lie is rehearsed. When an emotion is genuine, it hits the face like a wave. It washes over, peaks, and fades. When an emotion is fake, it operates like a light switch. Click on, click off. The synchronization of truth. In an honest interaction, the verbal and nonverbal channels are perfectly synced. Or, the nonverbal comes slightly first. Why? Because the feeling happens before the thought. Scenario. You tell your partner, I crashed the car. Real reaction. Their face flashes shock/anger, limbic, instantly. Then, a split second later, they scream, what? Neocortex. The face led the words. Fake reaction. You say, I crashed the car. They pause. They process. They decide they should be angry. They say, what? And then their face scrunches up. Do you see the difference? In the lie, the words came first. The words were the script. The face was the afterthought. Oh, right. I need to look angry now. If the expression trails the words, it is a fabrication. The train left the station without the engine. The myth of surprise. Surprise is the most commonly faked emotion, and it is the easiest to spot if you watch the clock. Real surprise, the biological startle response, lasts less than 1 second. Eyebrows up, jaw drop, gasp. Then, immediately, the brain categorizes the event and the face changes to the next emotion: fear, joy, or confusion. Real surprise is a transition state. It is a bridge. You don't live on a bridge. You cross it. But the liar? The liar tries to sell you the surprise. I had no idea, they say, and they hold their mouth open. They keep their eyebrows raised. They hold the pose for 2, 3, 4 seconds. If someone looks surprised for more than 1 second, they are not surprised. They are lying. They are pantomiming what they think a surprised person looks like. They are keeping the mask on until they are sure you bought it. Think about the time you confronted them with evidence. Did you take the money? Me. And they stood there, mouth agape, eyes wide, looking like a cartoon character. You backed down because they looked so shocked. You were played. Real shock would have flashed and vanished. They would have moved instantly to anger. How dare you ask me that? Or fear. The frozen face of surprise is the hallmark of a bad actor. The on-off switch. Genuine emotion has an onset and an offset. It ramps up and it decays slowly. If you tell a joke, a real laugh builds, peaks, and then trails off into a smile, then a neutral face. It lingers. A fake emotion has no decay. They smile at your joke. Ha ha. Then they turn away, and the face drops instantly to neutral. It is jarring. It looks robotic. This is the reset. The moment they think they are off camera, the moment they turn their head or look at their phone, the mask drops. The energy required to hold the fake smile is too high. So the neocortex cuts the power the second it thinks it's safe. Watch for this at parties. Watch your partner when they are talking to someone else. They are beaming, laughing, touching arms. Then they turn to walk toward you. Watch the face fall. Does it fade? Or does it crash? If it crashes, nothing you just saw was real. You were watching a customer service interaction, not a human connection. The eye check, the validation search. This is the most painful one to catch. When someone feels a genuine emotion, they are focused on the stimulus, the gift, the news, the event. When someone is faking an emotion, they are focused on you. You give them a gift. Real reaction, they look at the gift. Their eyes widen. They smile at the gift. Then they look at you to say thank you. Fake reaction, they open the gift. They look at it. Then they look at you. Then they smile. Why did they look at you before smiling? Because they were checking your face to see what reaction you expected. Does he want me to be excited? Okay, I'll be excited. They are mirroring you. They are not reacting to the object. They are reacting to your need for validation. You have spent years ignoring these timing errors. You felt them. You felt that the rhythm was off. You felt like you were watching a movie with bad lip syncing. But you didn't call cut. You let the scene continue. You applauded the performance. And now, we arrive at the hardest part of this entire documentary. We have looked at the eyes, the mouth, the body, the timing. We have turned the microscope on them. But now, we have to turn the lens 180 degrees. Because the reason you attracted this liar, the reason you kept them, the reason you are so easily manipulated, is written on your face. You are not just a victim of dark psychology. You are a broadcaster of vulnerability. You are the one who gets picked. You are the one the narcissist finds across a crowded room. You are the one who ends up doing all the work in the group project. You are the one who gets interrupted. Do you think this is bad luck? Do you think you have a magnet for toxic people? You do. But the magnet isn't magic. The magnet is your face. While you are busy trying to read their micro-expressions, they have already finished reading yours. And what they saw was a vacancy sign. They saw a person who is desperate to be liked, afraid of conflict, and willing to set themselves on fire to keep others warm. You are an open book, and the story you are telling is, I will not fight back. The appeasement smile. Watch yourself in a mirror when you are nervous. Or better yet, watch a video of yourself meeting someone new. You smile. Constantly. You smile when you say hello. You smile when you listen. You smile even when they say something rude. Oh, you're wearing that, they say? And you laugh. Yeah, I know it's old. Why are you smiling? You aren't happy. You are insulted. You are performing the appeasement smile. In the animal kingdom, baring teeth with a lowered head is a sign of submission. It says, I am not a threat. Please don't hurt me. When you smile at a predator while they are crossing a boundary, you are not being polite. You are giving them permission. You are training them that they can hurt you, and you will thank them for it. A predator sees that smile and thinks, green light. No resistance here. The bobblehead nod. Watch yourself in a conversation. They are talking. You are nodding. Not just a slow, thoughtful nod, but a fast, repetitive, anxious nod. Nod, 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 nod. Right? Totally. Exactly. Yeah. You are doing this to make them feel good. You want them to feel heard. You want to validate them. But to a manipulator, this doesn't look like empathy. It looks like desperation. It signals that you are terrified of silence. It signals that you need their approval so badly that you will agree with them before they even finish the sentence. You are handing them your power. You are saying, your words are more important than my thoughts. Stop nodding. Try it. The next time they speak, just look at them. Still face. Watch how uncomfortable they get. Watch them scramble. You have been filling the void that they should be filling. The hypervigilant gaze. You are a scanner. You walk into a room and your eyes dart. You check the exits. You check the faces. You check the mood. Is he angry? Is she bored? Did I do something wrong? Your eyes are wide. Your blink rate is high. You are visually vibrating with anxiety. This is the fawn response written on your face. Predators look for this. They look for the person who is hyper-aware of everyone else's emotions because that person is easy to control. All they have to do is frown, and you will panic. All they have to do is sigh, and you will rush to fix it. You think you are being observant. They see you are being manageable. The shrinking body. We talked about the turtle effect for them. But look at you. You minimize your footprint. You sit with your legs crossed tight. You keep your elbows in. You hold your drink close to your chest. You occupy the least amount of space possible. Why? Because deep down, you don't believe you have the right to take up space. You don't believe you have the right to be a problem. And the dark psychologist sees this. They see a person who has already made themselves small. So they know they don't have to push you down. You are already on the floor. This is the hardest pill to swallow. The reason you keep ending up in these relationships is not just because they are predators. It is because you are broadcasting prey. You are walking through the Serengeti wearing a steak necklace, wondering why the lions keep following you. You have to change the signal. And it doesn't start with what you say. It starts with what you show. It starts with the neutral face. Practice this. Walk into a room and don't smile. Don't frown. Just exist. Relax your jaw. Relax your forehead. Look people in the eye without desperate approval seeking. The first time you do this, it will feel terrifying. You will feel mean. You will feel rude. Your brain will scream, smile. Make them like you. Soften the blow. Do not listen to the fear. The neutral face is not mean. It is powerful. It says, I am here. I am watching. I am not asking for your permission. When you stop performing niceness, you stop attracting people who consume niceness. When you stop looking for approval, you become invisible to narcissists. They want easy supply. They want the bobblehead. They want the appeaser. If you give them a blank slate, they get bored. They move on. You save yourself not by fighting them, but by becoming boring to them. But to do this, to drop the mask of the nice person, you have to be willing to be disliked. You have to be willing to let people think you are cold. You have to be willing to kill the part of you that needs everyone to smile back. That is the binary choice. And that brings us to the end. You have the tools. You know the expressions. You know the timing. You know your own weakness. Now, you have to decide what to do with it. Ignorance is bliss. This is not just a saying. It is a survival strategy. It feels good to believe the lie. It feels safe to believe that everyone likes you, that your partner is honest, and that the world is fair. But now, I have ruined that for you. I have given you the lenses. You can read people like a book. And I have to warn you, the next few weeks are going to be very, very lonely. Because you are going to go to dinner with your friends. And you are going to see the micro sneer when you talk about your new hobby. You are going to ask your boss a question. And you are going to see the eye block. You are going to look at your family. And you are going to see the timing is off. You are going to realize that you are surrounded by actors. You are going to realize that 50% of the relationships in your life are based on a polite fiction that you both agreed to maintain. And you will feel a desperate urge to close your eyes again. You will want to unknow this. You will want to go back to the days when a smile was just a smile. But you can't. Once the mind stretches to a new dimension, it never snaps back. You have crossed the Rubicon. You are awake. So now you have a binary choice. Option A, you ignore the data. You see the contempt, and you swallow it. You see the deception, and you look away. But now it's different. Before, you were blind. Now, you are complicit. If you stay with the person who looks at you with disgust, you are no longer a victim. You are a volunteer. You are choosing your own humiliation. Option B, you accept the burden of sight. You trust what you see more than what you hear. When you see the sneer, you stop talking. You don't get angry. You just note it, disrespect. When you see the eye block, you don't press. You note it, deception. You start to prune your life. You stop feeding energy to people who view you as a resource. You stop opening your heart to people who are hiding their hands. This path is painful. You will lose people. The friends who only liked you because you were easy to manipulate, they will leave when you stop nodding. The partner who relied on your blindness, they will panic when you start seeing. But here is the promise. Here is why you watch this video. When you clear out the noise, when you stop accepting the fake smiles and the rehearsed lines, you create space for the truth. You create space for the people who don't leak these signals. Because they exist. There are people whose eyes crinkle when they smile at you. There are people whose shoulders drop when they see you, not because they are hiding, but because they are safe. There are people whose words and faces are perfectly synced because they have nothing to hide. You have never been able to find them because you were too busy entertaining the liars. You were so crowded by the fakes that the real ones couldn't get near you. Reading people like a book isn't about catching the bad guys. That's just the first step. The ultimate goal is to find the good guys. The goal is to find the people you don't have to read. The people where the book is open, the pages are clear, and the story is beautiful. But to get there, you have to walk through the fire. You have to be willing to trust your gut over their gaslighting. You have to be willing to trust your eyes over their words. You have to be willing to stand in the uncomfortable silence of the truth. The next time you feel that ping, that drop in your stomach, that hair raising on your arm, Do not brush it aside. That is your guardian. That is your biology trying to save your life. Listen to it. Watch the face. Wait for the leak. And when you see it, and you will see it, believe it the first time. The world is full of masks. But you are the one who sees what's underneath. Welcome to the real world.